right, we're here with the legend himself. No introduction needed, D-Wade. So, D-Wade, your moves off the basketball court, to me, is just as impressive your moves on the court, as far as we talked about, like, in China and things of that nature. Like, what made you have that business vision, especially to go overseas? Like, you was with Jumpman, then you made that switch to go to China.
The real jump.
The real jump.
The real jump. What made you inspired?
Well, man, thinking about, one thing as athletes, we think this game of basketball is going to last forever, and it's not. So I think for me and my team really in my career, just thinking about setting yourself up for after basketball and what moves can you make that is one, authentic to you, but when you talk about legacy, it's the things that you put your family in a situation for to be successful. For me, it was I had an amazing time at Jumpman. I mean, it was Michael Jordan, it was an honor, but it was all about what I can do and what I can build. And I had an opportunity at Chinese brand Li Ning to be able to build a brand for myself and for my family that can last a lifetime. So definitely start thinking about that about around 27 years old. I started thinking about after basketball.
So what's some of the best moves that you made in business? I know like you and LeBron obviously brothers, so I'm sure y'all probably inspire each other on the court. But in business as well, like what's some of your business highlights?
Well, you know what? The biggest thing about business is the people you put around you. You know what I mean? Understanding that as an athlete, before I retire, is very busy. So there's the people around you that can help take your vision and take it to another level. So I put myself with a great team. LeBron has put himself with a great team. Obviously, everyone knows his story. And so many other athletes, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and so many others. So it's just about understanding that you're not just a basketball player, you're more than that, and figure out what is your passions, what do you love, and making sure you surround yourself, man, with a great group that can take your vision and even take it further.
I see you got part of your team here. You got a new venture with CAA.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I got a new venture with CAA, man. We call it CAA Amp. And for me, man, as an athlete going through the ranks, really sitting in a lot of rooms, I didn't see a lot of people who represented myself that can represent my voice and my culture the way they needed. So we put together a company with CA where we formed a company that is going to do that. You know what I mean? So for brand marketing. Yeah, man. One thing we try to do is make sure that in this world of diversity that that the minorities don't get left out when it comes to their voices and how they see themselves. So we created a company to try to establish that and see what we do.
It's important, man. Financial literacy is extremely important. So I think for you, LeBron, and all of the athletes, I'm glad that you're showing that and making it cool. That's one of the things with our podcast, we try to make it cool, especially like where we come from, what I mean, as far as like business isn't always sexy, but it's turning the corner for sure.
Well, listen, one thing I could say is like when growing up in the city of Chicago, you're not your parents don't sit down and talk to you about business, right? You're not learning that in school. So when you get to the world, you're not necessarily expected to know what you are going to do or what you want to do. You got to kind of experience the world, experience people, and then your creative mind may start coming out about what you want to do. For me, it was just about, all right, I got to find good people around me that I know can help what's in here come to life. And that's the biggest thing, man, is understand your strengths and put people around you that really cover up your weaknesses, and together you guys make an amazing team, and that's what I've been able to do.
That's important, man. So, thank you for your mentorship and thank you for your time, bro.
So here with the legend himself,
the man of the day, the weekend,
Alonzo Mourning. Yes, this wouldn't be possible.
Without him.
First and foremost, thank you for putting this together. It's beautiful.
Right, thank you for being out here and supporting. It's a glorious day. Thank God for bringing everybody here safe. And everybody's having fun, man, for a great cause.
What you're doing in the community here, for years, is just honorable and tremendous. So thank you again for that.
Thank you, brother. We go through life, and we all have to understand that, while we're here, we have a responsibility, and that responsibility, one of our responsibilities is our young people. And I try to teach and create awareness, and set an example, help people understand that, that we all can make a difference in the lives of others, especially our young people, our next generation of Americans, so it's a blessing. I've been using my relationships and the basketball platform, as an opportunity to kind of create atmospheres like this. So it's truly a great opportunity.
So we talk about business a lot of times about relationships. And you've done a good job as far as leveraging your relationships, still with the Heat, and things that nature, even the golf tournament. And so how important is that? I think, like, especially with the golf tournament, we talk about making relationships on the golf field, for young athletes, or just people in general, as far as, I think relationships a lot of times are underrated.
Listen, some of the richest, first of all, life is about relationships. We without connection to other people. Our growth happens in community. A lot of people don't realize that, through our journey, through our lives, that we take these steps along the way, that a big part of the reason why we take the steps we take is because of our connection to other people. And, from a business perspective, it's about learning. We don't come out of the womb knowing. We go to school, we get our education, which is what we promote. We try to help these kids understand and value education from that perspective. But the most important thing is that as we go along this journey, the relationships that we develop along the way are what's going to take us where we need to go. Not just in life, but a big part of it is in the business world, because we all want to earn, a level of income where we can take care of ourselves and our family.
Earn your leisure.
Let me ask you one last question. So as far as, a lot of times with athletes, we have highlight reels of like your favorite move on the court. But what's your highlight reel off the court? Like, what's your favorite business move that you might have done while you were playing or after you're playing? Like, is there one in particular that stands out like this was great?
Well, my favorite one is affordable housing. Because I'm currently partners with a group called the Housing Trust Group. Randy Regal and Matt Regal, they're dear friends of mine. And one of the things that we understand is that there's a lot of hardworking people that do the jobs that many don't want to do, whether it be janitorial work or security guards or what have you, and they're working downtown in these elaborate establishments, and they can't afford to live close to their jobs. They really can't. So there's so many benefits to affordable housing. Because it cuts down on traffic. It allows people to live close to their job as well. And, pollution, what have you. And, people not having to drive as far and things of that nature. So it's just a lot of different benefits from that perspective. And I think it's not enough affordable housing. I built an 85 unit affordable housing complex in the hood, right in downtown in Overtown.
Yeah.
And 85 units. We had 3,000 people on the wait list to get in 85 units.
That's crazy.
So it lets you know the importance of it. So you got people living miles and miles away because they can't afford to live close to their job. So that's probably been it doesn't reap tremendous benefits
financially,
but from a moral perspective, it's the right thing to do. Yeah.
I know one of the things you're doing is building a new learning center.
Yeah.
You were talking about that last night. You want to speak about that a little bit?
Well, the youth center that we're building, it's no different than the Jewish community centers. If you want to take a page out of anybody's book, you take a page out of Jewish community's book. And they make up 2-3% of America's population. A lot of people don't realize that, but they own Hollywood, they own the music industry, they own some of the most prominent jobs in our government and in sports business. They own commissioners of leagues, law, whatever. And one of the things that they have done, they've invested back into their people, and education has been the direct investment. So their children's children, all of that, the priority in their lives has been education. So I don't think enough has been done in the Black and the Hispanic community and helping these young people value education from that perspective. So building the Overtown Youth Center is something a model that first of all I adopted from an organization in Portland, Oregon called SEI, and I've just basically replicated and implemented it thousands of miles away into South Florida. It's something that I want to expand. We're building a 56,000 square foot facility. We just came out of an 18,000 square foot facility, and we're upgrading it. Growth is a big part of what we try to promote, and growth in the lives of these kids, and at the same time in our organization. So we're providing services, after school, in school, summer programs, also family health and wellness services as well. All of which are pro bono, free of charge. You don't have to pay anything. You know, I go out and my staff, my board, we go out and raise the money and make sure we're able to provide all the things we need in order to provide an educational base for children and families in the hood, you know, in low socioeconomic areas.
That's powerful, man. Thank you. God bless you. Paving the way and giving us footsteps. Thank you.
Reporting live from Alonzo Mourning Celebrity Golf Tournament. We got a legend, Santana Moss, in the building. First and foremost, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank y'all, man. What's good with you?
Yeah, good, man. Miami legend. Washington legend, and when you was on the Jets, man, we loved you too.
Yeah,
we're from New York.
We New York guys.
It's crazy that I just went back to New York for the first time since I left, as far as visiting the team or whatever. Last season, and it was great being back. I had forgot because you know those 4 years went so fast. When I got to Washington, I never looked back. You know, I'm one of those guys kind of keep everything forward and never looking back. And so when I went back and saw those fans that once wore those 83 jerseys, man, it was great, you know, visiting.
Pound for pound, one of the toughest players, man.
For sure,
Appreciate
for sure.
That, yeah.
So we got a business podcast, and we focus on, our slogan is assets over liabilities.
Gotcha.
So what are some of the smartest investments or business choices that you made that you can kind of give some young athletes that may be coming into the league?
Real estate. I mean, to me, I made a lot of good and I did a lot of bad. And you know, normally guys who are not educated enough coming into the league with a bunch of money, they're going to make a lot of bad choices unless they have somebody behind them that's going to lead them the right way. Unfortunately, I didn't from the start, but I also believe you live and you learn. So going through some of those bumps and bruises, you know, and some of those hiccups, I was able to climb out of it and know what not to do and what to do. So the one of them that I can always rely on was real estate. Though real estate was someone, you know, I had an uncle that built homes and told me to get into it when I was very young. And when I got a chance to get a piece of money, you know, that was the first thing I invested in. And out of all the other stuff I tried to throw money in to make something, you know, down the line, the real estate was always there. You know what I mean? I can always rely on that, you know, being there. So if any guy, you know, the first advice I would give any guy who's getting into a bunch of money is first find someone that can educate you. Educate yourself if you can, but find someone who knows what he's doing, somebody who's trustworthy, and let them manage what you have. But at the same time, look into real estate because at the end of the day, when everything fails, someone need a house.
You know what I mean? Everybody got to live somewhere.
So.
One of the things that a lot of people have said is that they invest in the real estate, usually in their college town. You're a Florida guy, Miami, you went to school there. Where are you investing in real estate at?
Well, Miami was, you know, particularly my, you know, this is home for me. So all my properties was here. And then when I got to Washington, I went and bought a couple of properties up there too. So now I go back and forth a lot. I reside more in, you know, in the DMV area. So I try to lean to more over there. But you know, to me, I feel like anywhere you feel like you can be, you know, a lot of folks have these things where they say, hey man, it's something going on in Costa Rica, and hey, don't go out there. Don't go out there. Just because it sounds good don't mean it's good, you know. I would say that if you can get there and have someone manage it well, try to look into it. But I try to stay close to mine so I can be able to get to it. And Miami was the place, in Washington. So those are the two places that I, had most of the properties.
One last question for you. So we're on the golf course, and obviously there's a lot of networking is done on the golf course. Have you ever done any deals on the golf course? And how important is just networking in general?
It's crazy you ask that because now that I'm being retired, the one thing I found myself doing now is doing a lot of this. You know, folks laugh and I get in these forums and they say, do you golf? No, I'm here for the beer. But at the same time, I'm here to network. I'm here to rub those elbows, and I actually have my own tournament that I just started last year, the Santana Moss Foundation. The Moss Foundation, 89 Ways to Give, up in Washington. We had a golf tournament. Our first inaugural was last summer, and the second one is coming up this summer. I'm gonna try to reach out and a lot of the folks that's here, invite everybody. I see some familiar faces who came to my event last year. But it's gonna be in Lansdowne, in Northern Virginia. you know, where I stay at, where I live at, and last year it was sold out. It was actually a waiting list, but it was the first one. So just to have so much success that first time around, I'm looking forward to the second time. But I found myself doing a lot of this, you know, seeing myself on the golf course, networking, and just because of the world I'm in now, I have my own podcast. I also do a lot of analysts, you know, stuff with NBC Sports. This is where you kind of, you know, get to know people and letting people know what you're doing, so you can maybe, you never know, you might be doing something with them in the future. So
exactly. You never know your business partner gonna be.
You never know. So yes, I find a lot of business moves being made on the golf course.
So you don't play golf?
Don't play. I mean, I'm always here.
You gotta learn.
I can hit the ball. That's the one thing I can do. I can drive. If you ask me anything, I can drive and putt.
We appreciate your time, man. And on the record, I just want to say that U team that you was the greatest college team ever played.
Oh man, see, you know, a lot of people don't want to give us that credit,
the greatest.
It is what it is, but you know, one of the things I say, man, it's, you know, the proof is in the pudding. Like,
oh my God.
We can talk about it. You just put the film together.
Look at the Pro Bowlers. Look at the All Pro. Y'all gonna have a bunch of Hall of Famers.
Watch all those guys. We can take then to now.
Yeah.
And one of the things we pride ourselves on at UM, well, a lot of folks don't know about is that one, most of us graduate.
Yep.
You know, two, we don't just get to the league, we dominate. You know what I mean? So, and then after them guys dominated, some of them, like you say, Hall of Famers, Pro Bowlers, you name it.
Yeah.
But you know, a lot of us have long tenure, so that's one of the things we pride ourselves on.
What's in the water in Florida? Why is Florida so special when it comes to football? Like,
look at the weather, man. You know, it's football season there all year round. You know what I mean? You can always go out here and play ball, and that's one of the things I tell folks. Folks talk about football in Florida or Miami guys. I said, you look around the NFL right now, South Florida dominates the league. You know, they look at states and say, okay, you got Texas, you got California, you got Georgia, you name it, there's probably some more out there. But I say, look, you can look at Florida and say, we have a bunch of cats in Florida alone, but Miami alone dominating some of them states by themselves.
Yeah.
So look it up, man. I probably won't lead you wrong, man.
I had two Washington jerseys. One was yours and one was Clinton Porter's. Both from you.
That's what's up, man.
He's a huge Washington.
That's good. That's dope, man. Clint was supposed to be here. I'm not sure if he in
That's
town.
my guy.
I know he was out last night, so hopefully he up this morning. If he had to do this 9 times out of 10, he probably not up.
Shout out to the youth.
Yeah, Santana, man, appreciate you, bro. Thank you.
No.